Hello and welcome back to Fireside Improv, Chapter 8 of the Karl Franz saga. We left off with the Emperor having just gotten vengeance against Durthu for the death of his great friend, and now the path is clear to push the elves and the spirits out of the mountains. The Lost City can also now be reclaimed, and up in the north, the city was lost to Ostland, who then turned around and made peace. But the Emperor has not forgotten the slight. He knows that he will march back up and have it reclaimed. He may also use the Nord army that is up there already. Just needs to be reinforced that it can take care of the Norscan army that is still laying off the coast, waiting to strike if it were to move out. So a bit of a stalemate up there. The eastern part of the empire is still in shambles. You have the plagues happening. We have orcs still along that eastern coast. And of course, Sylvania and von Karstein has continued to push across the empire. Fortunately, the Golden Order has managed to hold them off so far, but if that changes, Reichland is open for the taking.
Yes, Sigmar compels us onward. Warrior of Sigmar!
The Emperor's armies are sick with the plagues that have gripped the central and eastern parts of the empire, so he is going to take another camp to rest a little bit more before pushing into the mountains. He's going to send Ralph around.
My journey
The Monster
begins.
Hunter is going to be the one to reclaim Grunberg before rejoining the Emperor in the mountains. Up north, Phaedric is going to be receiving his own reinforcements to start looking at pushing back the Norskins and eventually reclaiming Ostland. Durthu senses his weakness and looks for peace with the Empire, but there is not a chance that the Emperor is going to let him off the hook. He is going to go in and burn the forests that have gripped the mountains. He's going to purge them. At that point, he will entertain the possibility of peace, but not before then. Stirland is once again offering to go under the protection of the Emperor directly, but the Emperor again is still not in a position to take that on. He's already shown he's not able to hold the lands granted by the Nordlands. He is not going to take over Stirland just yet. He's going to have them hold out against the vampires a little bit longer.
I command here.
The plagues
Attack!
that have ripped Karl Franz's army have now been dealt with. He's going to start moving up into the mountains and take Asgaraz back away from the spirits of the forest. He knows that there is another army that has assembled deep inside Athel Loren that can use those dreadful world routes to get up into those mountains. So he has to be careful not to allow himself to become weakened and overrun by that additional force. In the meantime, he continues to build up Altdorf. He knows from these most recent battles that he does need to make sure that he has strong enough soldiers, more elite soldiers, that he can use against them. What he currently has is simply not enough. Ralph now marches against the city of Grunberg to take it back. It's going to be an easy victory over the pathetic force that was left there to protect it. So he is going to easily come back and occupy it for the Empire. But in the meantime, there have been reports of new Greyherds, beastmen have come back into the Empire, and also Steerlands that had previously requested the Emperor's direct control has been eliminated. What exactly defeated them is uncertain. It may be the plagues, or it could be the von Karsteins. Regardless, that part of the Empire has now succumbed to darkness. Karl Franz has also moved against another one of the Forest Spirits outposts. Again, there are not many people there, and he is easily able to clean it up and purge them.
By Sigmar.
The Emperor had delayed it for some time, but it is time to start rebuilding Middenheim. It has been sitting as ruins for too long. It's now going to be rebuilt. The Emperor intends to return Karak Asgraz to the dwarves, but he is going to make sure that his own forces are strong and secure. He's going to use it as a base for the time being to make sure that when he does face the army that has assembled deep in Athel Loren, that he is ready to take it on. In the meantime, he's also going to ask Ralph Koch to bring up his force to reinforce the Emperor so that they do not easily fall.
By the comet!
And it's finally happened. Vlad von Karstein out of Sylvania has pushed far enough in the Empire to declare war on the Emperor directly. This has officially become a massive war over the heart and soul of the Empire. Whether it is going to fall under the control of the vampires entirely for a new emperor in Emperor Vlad von Karstein, or if Karl Franz will be able to push them back into Sylvania and perhaps even eradicate them entirely. Ralph has made it the rest of the way up into the mountains. The Emperor is still going to require a little more time before he's ready to push out. The scouts do report that Durthu himself has reappeared in Athel Loren and is going to lead the host that has assembled there. With the von Karsteins having declared war on the Emperor officially, Brennburg is no longer able to stay as an economic base. It will need to be fortified and be a strong fortress from which they can stand against Vlad von Karstein. But first, the resources needed to do that need to be acquired. The Emperor's decided that he can't wait any longer, and he starts marching to the next
I see no other option.
Settlement in the mountains. He's going to march right alongside with Ralph Koch through the dangerous mountain passes to reach Karak Norn. In the meantime, Karak Asgaraz is now in a position where he can give it to Karak Ziflin and leave it in the hands of the dwarves.
Yes, honor to your ancestors.
He is also going to give up the fortress of Helmgart so that the dwarves can be strong in their ability to hold all of the mountain passes.
Very well. Anad, hail to your Emperor, manlings! I agree.
To make sure the dwarves are able to march all the way to Karak Asgaraz, the Emperor decides to give up Ubersreich as well. Perhaps he will get it back in the future, but with all of the different threats that are currently facing the Empire, he feels like it is a small price to pay for an ally who will be able to help hold back the elves and Durthu.
Summon the Elector Counts! I serve
The Emperor
Sigmar.
knows that the mountain passes are treacherous, but he decides he doesn't have the time to waste navigating them in a safe manner. He pushes through as quickly as possible to reach the safety of Karak Norn and hopes that Durthu is not able to jump up in the time being.
Is
The
it
Emperor
time?
continues
Move!
to push forward
What
through
orders?
the mountain passes. Some question
As is my right by
his sanity
Sigmar's
to
crown.
risk his men's life through those mountain passes as they freeze, as they have rock slides fall down among them. And yet the Emperor finds their courage wanting. How could they not see that the speed that this brings is imperative? He has to be able to move quickly if he wants to be able to deal with all of the many and growing threats that are around him. These creatures that came out of Athel Loren are not even the ones who are the most troublesome. Now that the von Karsteins have declared their intention to become emperor themselves, can't his people see that they are the greatest threats? Or the plagues that have gripped the central lands that need to be purged? His soldiers need to steel themselves because there's going to be much worse than mountain passes in the days ahead. Balthazar Gelt of the Golden Order wishes to deepen the relations between himself and the Emperor. It is something that the Emperor will gladly accept. All the help he can get against the von Karsteins will be needed. The Emperor has now reached
I
Karak
am
Norn,
Franz.
and
They will
again,
obey.
these outposts that the spirits and the Wood Elves keep are not well defended, and he's able to wipe it out with ease. He takes what riches he can find,
I serve
and has
the
Ralph
Elden
continue to
Hammer.
push on to the final settlement in the mountain range. As before, the Emperor is going to keep Karak Norn for his own for the time being before returning it to the dwarves. He does require a little bit more time to recoup his losses and give his soldiers a little bit of time away from the elements that they have been grumbling about so much.
I am Prince and Emperor.
Protector of the weak. Praise be to Sigmar.
What?
Champion of the faith. I live to serve the Emperor.
What does the Emperor bid?
Ralph finally completes his
Here
march
to
through the
serve.
mountains and
Faith
arrives at
shields
Grimhold.
us.
Despite suffering losses in the mountain passes, he does still have enough forces left to easily annihilate the garrison. And with that, the elves and spirits have been purged from the mountains. The Emperor
Arch-Lector.
holds on to these territories for just a little while longer while he continues to regroup. Meanwhile, he just needs a little bit more in order to start building up Grunberg as a bastion of defense against the von Karsteins. Durthu has jumped up through the world roots into the mountains as expected.
Bring me to my men.
Ralph Koch has no choice but to quickly march back through the mountain passes again. The men continue to grumble and grumble about the dangers of the mountain and having their lives of their comrades thrown away, but they must move quickly, for Durthu is again here. Plagues continues to spread across the empire, and the von Karsteins continue to deepen their grip. Durthu has marched closer to the settlement where Karl Franz is currently camped in Karl Norn. Ralph is attempting to make his way close enough to reinforce. He may or may not get there in time.
I serve Sigma.
Grunberg can finally start to build up its defenses against the vampire counts that are nearly on their doorstep. And the Emperor has decided to request its allies to attack the forest directly. The Waterfall Palace deep in Athel Loren needs to be dealt a serious blow if this is going to be sustainable in the long run. They can't keep having Durthu popping up into the mountains over and over. And Karl Franz himself is not able to get through the mountains and into the forest, so it's up to his dwarven allies to eradicate that threat.
I will do anything for Sigma. I go where I am needed. Moving off. I serve the Helden Hammer.
Ralph has made it up to Karl Norn to reinforce the Emperor. He's going to try to get a few more soldiers to come and reinforce his armies so that they can attack Durthu at full strength instead of being tired from the treacherous march through the mountains. It's important to wipe them out here and now and give the dwarves a chance to march against Athel Loren. And the battle is going to happen. Durthu has wisely surrounded the city so that the additional army is not able to help Karl Franz, who is now beset on multiple sides. Karl Franz doesn't want to give up the settlement. If he were to retreat here, he might be out of range from the settlement itself, which wouldn't be able to hold out against Durthu alone. He is going to see what he can do in the field of battle and hope that at the very least he can cause some damage that will make them unable to proceed. The Emperor seeks to destroy Durthu again. This time is not so favorable as the last time that he caught him out of position, but he does not want to be defeated again. He's had enough times that he has been humiliated by these spirits, and he will not allow himself to be humiliated again. The Empire is stronger than this. As he's done once before, Durthu makes a peculiar decision to move out with his elves in front of the rest of his army, allowing the Empire cavalry to come out and deal a blow to that archer contingency of the elves. Emperor has trouble holding the lines as ever. The Dryads just rip right through them. And the Emperor is not able to do enough himself in order to prevent an inevitable defeat. But hopefully he has done enough so that there is a chance to hold out in the city itself. There are elite soldiers there ready to do battle against what remains.
I will not stand idle! They are wavering!
Significant damage was done to Durthu's army. Several of their soldiers are now dead, and they will have no way to replenish them up in the mountains. If they want to come back at full force, they will have to retreat back into Athel Loren. Durthu himself is the problem, but perhaps enough was done so that Karak Norn will be able to hold out.